Okay, now we're going to work on some earrings using the Beadalon Wire Mandrel in the oval shape and the Beadalon Artistic Wire 3D Bracelet Jig. Now, even though this is a bracelet jig, we're going to use it for some earrings, and I'm going to show you how to do that. We'll also need some 16 gauge wire. Now, normally for a earring length, which is what we need this for, I would use 18 or 20, mainly because I would string some beads on it, and most beads will not go on the 16. The hole is just not big enough. But we're not going to string beads on this time. So this is actually just going to be the base for the piece we make with the 18-inch, or 18 gauge, I should say, 18 gauge wire that's going to go around the outside. And we're going to make that piece on the 3D jig. So let's turn down and get started. Okay, to do this first part, you're going to need 2 pieces of the 16 gauge, about 4.5 inches each. Sure, try and get the kinks out. This side looks pretty straight. Okay, so you're going to take your oval wire mandrel. You're going to use the bottom one. Try and get about to the center of your wire and pull her all the way around until they meet. And I got this one a little bit off, as you can see. So we'll see if we can just get her closer. Put her back on the mandrel so that we can get her to the proper shape. As you can see, I tend to use my fingernails a bit on these to push them into place. And you could use your pliers for this as well. Just move it over as needed. Oh, I bent that, but that's not going to be an issue because we're going to roll those ends. Okay, you really want to be a little wonky, but that's all right. Okay, so now we're going to take a bell making plier. Now you can use this 6-step one, or you can use singular ones if you've got those. You want to roll these over till they meet the other side. Oop. Let's see how they're looking. Now, because mine are a little crooked, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go up some, and then I'm going to pull it together more. And then, because I want it the bigger size, we'll drop back down. And you can see that that fits a lot better there now. Pull it in tight. And there, that's much better, see? Now we'll do that with the second one as well. Round and meet back here. But again, I've not got quite the right curve in it, in the right spot. So let's go up here. Again, I'm going to go up to a higher one to bend it again. and then drop it back down. And spread it out some. That's much better. Now we're going to roll our ends. I'm using the bottom larger sized one. I like this size of loop. If I were making like a eye pin, I would use the smaller one. Okay. Put it back on the mandrel, up one, so I can make sure I've got it's where I want it, and drop it down to the other, and bring it together again. And then let's compare, make sure they're about the same size, and as you can see they are, so that's great. So now that we've got that done, we can put these aside. We shouldn't need them anymore, at least for a while. But we do want to bring our block out and our nylon hammer and harden these a little bit. They're 16, so they shouldn't need too much hardening. But we're going to wire wrap around them, so we want to make sure we keep them pretty steady to this size. And that's sorry about the pounding. This one's a little bit wonky. That's better. Okay, and that's our two frame pieces. Now we want to put our block and our hammer away. We shouldn't need them anymore. We'll need those later, but not right now. What we need now is to set these two aside. And now we got to set up our jig. Now to set up your jig, it comes with, sorry, wrong side. I put them in this dish. They don't come in this dish, in case you're wondering. But we do need to, take the paper out of there too. We're going to need to set up the pins, and we want 5 in a row. So you simply get your pins, choose what row you want to work in. I'm going to choose the second one. Set up your pins by you just put the small side in, take one of these little rubber pieces and snug it on tightly. And we're going to do that with 5 right in a row. Like I said, we don't want to leave gaps or go down or up. Okay, now that we've made sure these are good and tight here, we now have, you can see we have the rubber stoppers on the inside, and then we have the pins on the outside. Now you don't have to make this 5, you could make it 3, but you want them to have an uneven amount, because what we're going to do is sort of turn these pieces into a chandelier. So you'll want uneven numbers so that the middle one is the middle one here is on the middle one on the chandelier. So now let's put these aside because we don't need them anymore. Well, not for a while. And what we need to do is grab our 18 gauge wire. Okay, I'm just going to work right off the spool since I really don't have too much on the spool anyway. And what you need to do is place the wire right beside the first peg. And you need to hold it with your thumb because otherwise it's going places. So then you just wrap around that first peg, just like that, all the way around. Then you come back, and instead of starting on it, go up between the two. Get down towards the bottom. So it sort of makes an S when you bring this around this way. Now go all the way around this one. Oops, hold on to it, Rose. Push her down. Now you want to do the same here. Go down instead of up to the top, around the peg, up to the top of the next peg, around the peg, down to the next one, around the peg. And so you have this pattern. Can you see the pattern? With the up down loop thing here. Okay, so now we want to cut this loose. And in order to push it down good and tight, and now in order to get it off, you need to pull your pegs out. So just I guess I didn't need to pull the back one off. Okay, put this back. We're going to need to replace these and to make the second one. But for right now, you can see we have this nice little swirly pattern here. We're going to set this aside with this one, with these other two pieces for now, until we get the second one made. So now we need to replace our pegs. Now you can use this for all kinds of things. You don't have to go in a straight line like this. You could go and make a really big swirly one. You could make more than one wire at a time, and make them come together if you wish to. This was originally designed to make bracelets. It'll make a bangle bracelet if you keep wrapping all the way around like I did this piece. It will go all the way around and making this pattern. Or like I say, you could put it way down here and just go from here and down to here and back up here. You can go all different directions with this. It's really quite fun. Okay, let's get the wire out again. And start the second one. I really haven't measured this wire, so I couldn't tell you for sure how much I'm using, because I usually just use it right off the spool like this. Anyway, remember, hold the wire, wrap the wire all the way around till it's forming that curve, and then go around the next peg. And I'll tell you, I think the second peg is the hardest one to do. I don't know why, it just seems to not want to cooperate as well as the others. We go down around this peg, up around this peg and down around this peg. Cut it off, and we're done with that wire. Now push this down tight. Looks like it's pretty tight to begin with, just good. And now it's time to pull the pegs. This time we're going to be done with the pegs, so we might as well put them in a dish as we pull them. And we have the second piece done. Okay, now that we're done with the jig, I have put it all back together, and we will put it away as we are done with it for now. And now you can see we have these two pieces of the swirly stuff. We don't want them curved like this. The bracelet does make it curved. The jig does make it curved, which is it is cool if you're making something you want curved, but we don't want this curved. We want it, well, we do, but we don't want it curved in this direction. We're going to want it curved in this direction. But the first thing we're going to do is we're going to flatten it some so that it's easier to work with. Put it down on the, get our nylon hammer out. Give it a couple of bangs to get it more straight. And we are going to cut off these ends in a minute. We're just not doing it right this instant. Okay, now we've got those straightened, so we'll take this away. Now I'm going to show you why didn't cut these off yet, and just as we wrap it up. Okay, the next thing we're going to do is we want this one to point down because it's going to be our center. See, we're going to put this, and we're going to wrap it upwards around the mandrel. So actually we're going to get the wire mandrel back out, put this baby in about the center spot. It's not going to want to lay flat as you do this, so you're going to have to work it a bit. So then get that in the corner, move these up the sides. Now it's going to look sort of wonky, but that's all right. We know what we're going to do here. Okay. What we want is our wire. Okay, you came up too much. You didn't come up enough, probably. Two. This one bent some here. I don't want it bent right here yet, not until I see if that's what it wants to do as it goes on here. And we want this bent down some. Okay, so we want it to go here. Actually, this one needs to go down a bit because it's going to hook right onto here. And then this is going to have to come up, as is this. We're going to put it snugged against the wire like that. Now that we've got this bent, and we sort of know where it's going to go, we can cut this little bit of extra wire off of the loops. We want it to sort of meet right here, so we can cut it off. Be careful you don't get the other wire. And we can snug it down in there like that. Again, with the other side the same way, we want to make sure it's in there, but we only want to get the one wire, so make sure you're really watching when you cut this. There we go. Okay, now this is going to go just like this. And I can see that this one side needs to go up just a hair's more. So we'll just bend that with our fingers. And this loop looks like I cut it too big, so we'll trim it down just a touch more. And then if we need to, we can bring this mandrel in and give it just a teeny touch of a twist. Okay, you are too big, definitely. You're about right. Okay, now we'll cut that off again. As I say, being very careful to not catch the second wire. And there. Okay, now we're ready to form the second one as soon as we bend this up just a hair's breadth more. In the meantime, let's make sure that we don't wreck this loop too much, so we'll do it by doing this. How's that? Yes. Now this bottom of the chandelier, even though it was originally a nice squiggle like this, is sort of squared off. Isn't that sort of cool? Okay, so we'll put this one aside and we're going to do the other one here. As we do the other one, we get the wire mandrel out, put the center one in the middle, bend it towards the oval. Put the wire mandrel away. Bring this baby in. Okay, we can see we've got the bottom ones pretty good, though they could use just a tad more bend because they're not quite hitting the wire. So we'll bend them just a teeny touch more to more or less straighten this wire out that's across the bottom. Drop down there, baby. Now, this one is touching, but this one isn't. So we will bring this one up. And I'm going to use my pliers to do that so that I have more control. But do be careful not to mar your wire up when you do that. Okay. There we are together. Now we can trim our wires. Carefully not catching the wire on the other side. Come on, baby. Let me see what I'm doing. I think that needs just a touch more. Okay. And now do this one. now, as you can see, we've got this one made as well. So I do need to squish these pieces into place. Okay. Now the next step is to wire wrap these on. Okay, we're trying to get this, we need to get all the circles to touch the wire here. So we're working them a little bit with your fingers to bring it up. As you can see, we don't need a lot, but we do need a little bit. So just a hair's breadth more in on both sides. See how that worked. Okay, looks like we got it that time. Well, we may be a little bit too much in because the bottom one does not want to touch all the way. So looks like this one needs to come out just a hair, and this one needs to go in just a hair. Okay, let's go up. Okay, there we go. Now we need to find our 24 gauge wire, because now we're going to wire wrap these two pieces together. Looks like I need a new spool, so I'm going to cut this little piece off here. Then we'll get the spool of wire out. Come on, baby. When I get a new spool of wire out, I take this little tab, I wrap it around the spool, and then I tape it on so that I know what size wire it is without having to fix it all the time, check it all the time against a gauge. Just tape this baby on. There we go. I know now that it's 24 gauge whenever I go looking through my wire bin. So now we have to find the end. Looks like it's right here. And we'll need a goodly portion, probably at least a foot, maybe a little more, because we want to wire wrap all the way around. I'm just getting some wire out. I'm not sure exactly how much I'm getting. That should be enough. Let's measure it and see how much I've got here so that you can know if you really want to. And we'll see if it's enough to go all the way around. Okay, so I have, as I thought, about a foot, a little bit over. Okay, so we'll want to start with one of these, and we'll just do 3 or 4 wraps right across the top here, so that come on, baby, so that we can anchor this baby. Remember to leave yourself a small tail, because Well, the long and the short of it is this will spin if you don't have a tail to hold on to as you start it. Now I'll tell you, if you have fingernails that you're really proud of, mine always get all chipped up when I'm working on doing wire work. Just a warning. Okay. Now we'll take the piece, put it where we want it to be. Just about right here, because we want that piece in the middle down there. I'll bring this down here to where this is at. And we're going to start attaching this. And to do that, we'll go up through here. Bring this baby back down here because it needs to be close. Come here. And we'll wrap it around once. Now, if it looks like your wire's going to kink on you, you can put your thumb inside it as you're pulling it around, and that will keep it from wrapping up in knots. Except for it didn't do a very good job of that there, or it did it. Okay, she still wants to wiggle too much since this is her first real wrap. Okay, pull her tight. Down there, baby. Okay, something's wrong. Let's see what we did wrong here. Ah, I see. Let's back her back out. What happened was that this particular wire got on the wrong side of that wire. It should be right here. Okay. And you're definitely not in place, baby. Okay, so see how we thought it right here? It needs to be right here. So when I tried to put the other one through, I was putting it through to the top rather than to the bottom. So you need to make sure your wire wraps are in the proper spot. This one is too tight because it's trying to pull this over onto the top. So we want to bring it back down here. Yep. And I'm going to add seed beads into my circles and into my hollow spots. So I'm going to go get these. So we're going to get some seed beads and put in here to add a little oomph. I've got some little tiny blue number 11s. I've decided we'll make a nice color on here because I'm thinking the dangles, a little more than I wanted, but that's all right. So thinking just one to start with. On she goes. And as I come through this circle, we're going to put her right there inside it. Up and in, baby. Well, you are in. Okay. Stay in there as we come down. And as we do this, we're going to do 3 wire wraps in the slots. One with a seed bead and one on either side without. And that should anchor that pretty well. Okay. Now let's make sure we get it about where we want it, which is there. Now we're going to go and do some wire wrapping around through all of these little spots, and we're just going to go around the bottom wire when we do this one. Well, if we can get it to go in there. Silly thing. Well, just push that out of the way for now. So we'll put wrap, put a bead on there. Come on, baby. Push it over. Want the bead down here on this side. Push that wire over there again and up. Okay. Now we've gotten this spot, tighten her up, where these come in. Spread this out a little more so it's sort of in the middle. Now we're going to go to the second hole. Pull it up. And do yourself the favor of using the gap in the, because it's very helpful when you're wire wrapping to have that gap there. Okay, bead into the center. Stay there. No, stay in there. Right there. I'm beginning to think that little bead in the middle there is going to be too big because we need to fit a dangle jump ring through there. So let's see. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it is. So we'll take that baby back out of there and we'll just wire wrap through there and move the seed bead to the next gap spot. Come on, seed bead, just roll over onto the wire. Okay. off, we'll wrap that final wrap into there. Now we'll go and we'll put a seed bead in this spot instead. And I think we'll just not bother putting them in any of the other spots except for this upper circle up here. If your wire gets too kinked up, you can always get your nylon jaw pliers out and straighten it some. Oh, shoes, come on. Okay. Oh, she's wiggled a little bit. Okay. Let's get her back straightened. Okay. 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 Now into this big bar here. This circle seems bigger than the other two, and so it probably could take a seed bead, but I'm not going to bother. You'll notice how I'm putting my finger in that loop as it comes around to try and keep it straight so it doesn't kink up. Loop 3. Okay, now we're going to go into this slot and put another seed bead in there. Now there are times you may need to tighten this up some because it's like right now it's trying to come loose a little bit right here. So pull it tight. Put the seed bead in. Hold it down there while we bring our wire around. Now in the other loop again. Now see, that one tried to kink, but that's all right because we managed to catch it before it did. Another seed bead. Into the hollow there. Round. No, into the hollow, baby. Stay there. And now into the last loop. Now remember, this one has a seed bead because we did put it in up there on the other side. Sorry, I'm going off screen. And now we put 3 or 4 loops up the edge here. Make sure these are tight. Now we'll do some, these are the anchor loops to make sure that your wire wrap stays in place. Squish them down. Make sure this one side's the same. And now we're ready to trim these wires off as soon as we tighten them just a little bit. And here is the finished chandelier. And oh look, I just gave myself some more seed beads, like I really needed those. So anyway, we're going to trim these off really close, making sure not to cut any other wires while we're at it. And then we'll take our pliers and tuck these. Careful as you tuck that you don't catch that seed bead maybe, because it is glass. You don't want to break it. Okay. One side done. Now we got to cut some wire, and that 12 inches looks like it was about perfect. Now we need to cut some more wire and do the other side. Okay, getting the next batch of wire out. Feed it backwards through this roll. Let's see. A little more, because that's not quite 12. Even though I cut some off, I didn't cut off a lot. So there, that's about right. Now we're going to be done with that wire. Okie dokie, here comes the fun of wire wrapping the second one. I like to straighten my wire a little. It's a little easier to work with when it's not all kinked up. So let's get the base going here. Don't forget to give yourself a little towel and then tighten up your wires here. That's not quite tight. There we go. I think that's got it. As I said, I'm using my nails quite a bit on this, so I will bang this nail all to heck. So if you have a nice manicure or something, you might want to try using a tool of some kind to do that. Maybe a pair of pliers or something. Getting this initial bit done is really a challenge some days. Come on, baby, go through there. And we did get a kink. That's what I get for not putting my nail in there, my finger in there to hold her. There we go. Sorry if I'm going off camera. I'm trying to sort of see what I've got going on here. Okay. Okay, this is the one that needs the seed bead. Oop, not two, just one. It wanted a buddy to join it. Okay. Stay in there, baby. These first few wraps are always the hardest. Once you get it set some, and it will generally, you can use this finger like this easier once it's set in place, and get them tighter without rolling it around too much. Okay, now for the next spot. I'm going to turn this some now so I can work from this edge more. It's a little easier for me. This one doesn't want to tighten up, so we better get her over there. Come on, baby. And this is the one with the seed bead. Now, if the piece falls out of place like it's doing right now for me, that's not a big deal because we're not to the point where it needs to be hanging up yet, but we are there now because we are going to now go into this. Oops, we brought it over too far. There we go. We are now going to go into this next hollow, next loop here. As soon as we get this all tightened up good. Okay. And you want to slide out of the where I want you. So we're going to hold you while we put this one in place. Get my finger in there to keep the knots out of it. Pull it up tight. And there we go. Okay. You are just determined to fall out of your slot, aren't you, little seed bead? Get back down in there. Now we're on to the next hollow spot here. We have the first one on. Come on, baby. Go. Second one. Now the second one is the one with the seed bead. Come on, baby. There we go. Except for I think it just snapped off. Okay, back on again. Get the seed bead in place. Stay right there, baby. Wrap it around. Tighten her up. Wrap that one more time. Okay, now it's time to go into this next hollow. Now we're a little over halfway done with this this one, but I think she's a little crooked. Let's see. Are you in the center? I guess she is. Okay, now for the next one with the seed bead. One, loop 2 will have the seed bead in it. So let's put that on. place while we do the loop. Oop, go back down in there, baby. There it did. Now time for this other loop. Okay, now the next one with the seed bead, which is the last seed bead. Here's the seed bead. Oh, I take it back. It's not the last. That's right. There's a seed bead in the circle, that last circle. Almost forgot about that. No seed bead. Get in the hollow where you belong. Now tighten stuff up. And now we're going into the last one. Okay, here's the seed bead. Into the hollow. Hold it in place. One more loop. Tighten her up. Now the anchor loops. 1, 2, 3, 4. Take to the back. And then we'll cut them loose. And tighten them up. And there we have our 2 chandelier pieces. The next thing we're going to do is now add some dangles on these. Okay, I've went and fetched some stuff to do the final steps, which is put the dangles on this and then put it all together. I've got the miracle beads out of this unicorn, Jesse James Beads Unicorn Bliss set, which I think is really pretty. And then I've got some small silver ball heads and some little Swarovski crystals. So to put these together, I'm going to use one of the little, well, if I can find the opening. Come here, baby. Problem with nails is these little things go underneath them. Usually by the time they get this long, I cut them off. Okay, so we put a little ball head on the bottom. I would usually use ball head ear wires, but I'm out. So put the little butterfly on. Ugh. These are really rather... The little holes are hard to find in these little things. There we go. Miracle bead. Last one of these. Oh, found the hole. Excellent. And then that's going to be pretty. So then we're going to make a wire wrapped loop at the top. One. I'm making pretty tiny loops because I don't need big ones. I'm just going to use the oval jump rings to attach these on. I always use oval jump rings because the slit is in the side of the oval, and that way the weight from either what it's holding onto or what it's keeping from, or where it's holding, is both at the short sides, and so it doesn't ever come near the loop, or anyway it shouldn't. And so so it's more secure. You don't have to worry about so much of your earring component sliding through the break in your jump ring if it should open just a teeny touch, because it doesn't really need to open generally very much for you to lose things. Oop, we're bending some here. Tuck, baby. Okay, now I'm going to put this one together since I have its components done. And we start that by using the small oval jump rings. As I said, you see the splits here. Open a jump ring with a twisting motion onto the hook, baby. Okay. Then we'll put these on. Oh, I didn't have it open enough. No, yes I do. I just didn't grab this well enough. You know, I didn't make concessions when I thought about this for the double loop of wire, so I'm going to need to get large ones rather than the small ones. So it'll be just a second. All right, I believe these ones might work a little better. They're a little wider across the bottom, so let's find out. I've already opened this one up. It's our component. Yeah, that's going to work better. So put this piece on and shut it back up. Okay, now here is the earring before we put, I see this one's a little bit wonky right there. There we go. Now we have to put it together at the top. Now there's one thing I haven't done, which you could do. You could put a dangle in the middle here also. But right now I'm just going to work on putting this together. And then we'll do the second one. I use 2 small jump rings up at the top in these rings. Come on, baby. Oops, starting to get the shakes a little bit. Since I've had the COVID, every time I start to get tired, I get the shakes a bit, but that's all right. We're going to get these finished. Now, because I've got the small ones on, I take a large one and open it up. And I'm going to hang this upside down so these are dropped, like not drop the jump ring. Okay, so that the hoops are dropped down here. Don't know if you can see, I hope you can. And you bring your ring through both. Now, if you were putting a dangle in the middle, you would put it between these two. So you would hang that in between. Then you can put your ear wire on and close her up. Now I use surgical steel lever back ear wires. A surgical steel, of course, is better for most people are not allergic to it, considering it's the same thing they use for surgical tools. And I like a lever back because it cages and so stays safe. So there is this one earring finished, and we'll go on and finish the other one quickly. Got some extra head pins here just in case I screw something up and need to cut it loose. Because if it doesn't meet my standards, that's exactly what I will do. There's the first one. So we just have to wire up this and then get the other two ready to go. Put them all together too. Now I would put a dangle in the middle, but I used all of these colors of miracle beads for these dangles, which is a pity because I think it would look pretty with a dangle in the middle. I may choose to find a different bead to put a dangle in later, but right now it's going to be just the 3 on the bottom. This one wishes to be a stubborn little turd. Let's see, if I could put a dangle in here. And that would look really cute. So I may find some other beads that will work as a dangle for in there and put it together, because I think that it would look good with a dangle in the middle. Right now I'm not going to worry about it, but I may soon. Oh, baby. I need a hole. There we go. Looks like I have an extra one of these little silver beads out. you. Let's see, I'm going to move this earring over here so that it's not behind us while we're making these and blocking the focus. These little black butterflies are Swarovskis. Unfortunately, Swarovski is discontinuing their DIY line, so we won't be able to get them much longer, which is sort of a pity because they're very beautiful components. Now we bend, wrap around, drop to the bottom. Oops, don't fall off. Tighten up, and then wrap. Now I had these wires short enough I don't have to cut them, that I just have to tuck them under. And that's good. So there's the last one done. Now we will put these all together. Okay, let's get these oval jump rings open and get them hooked to the earring. Remember, twist side to side. One. Two. Come on, baby, go on. And last loop. Oh, that slipped on me. There you go. Okay, dangles are on. Now to put it together. So small jump rings through the loops. Now the large one. Hang these down so that you get them in the right order. If these flop around and get turned, you won't, it will twist as you try to put it together. So, and then the ear wire. And now this one is done. So there's our pair of earrings. Now, like I say, if you want to put a dangle in the middle, which I think would look really good, so I may see what I can find to put there, you make sure you hang it here between the two small ones, so it will hang down the middle. And let's see what we can find for the middle. Okay, I pulled some more beads from my Unicorn Bliss, and I'm thinking this will make a really pretty dangle. So I need to get a eye pin, because I'm going to put them on that oops, well, I got an extra. I could only find one more of the little blue miracle beads, and I really want to use those because, let's face it, they're really pretty. Let's see, I want to find a triangle that'll fit through. Come on, baby. There we go. Twist her back. Tighten her up some. Okay. Then the little yellow one. I like this little yellow ones with the little spots. I think these are probably like sandblasted to get the effect, but I don't know that for sure. But they're really cool. The little silver ball and the miracle bead. Let's see how long that's going to be. Probably that might be just perfect. So let's find out. I have to search through my Jesse James beads and see if I can find another miracle bead like this before we can finish up the earrings, if this fits. If it doesn't fit, we'll have to cut it loose and take off the miracle bead, and we'll just use the yellow and the cage bead. Okay, this one's going to need trimmed off. Now, careful when you trim. I have been known to cut more than this wire. There we go. Tuck, baby. There we go. See, it's a little crooked, so roll it some. There we go. Well, no, I don't think it's still very straight. Let's get her held by the pliers while I straighten it. There we go. Now this has to be hooked in up at the top up here. And let's see if it's going to be too long. I think it might be just right. Let's get a little jump ring. Come on, baby. And put her in place. Where to drop it to? There it is. Now remember, I said this little one has to go in between the other two little ones. So we find our wire here, and then we go up between these two, and then tighten her up. And let's see where she hangs. Oh, I think that's perfect. Now I just need to go find another miracle bead. So I'll see what I can do about that. Well, unfortunately, after a search, I could not find that color of miracle bead anywhere, which is too bad because I think it looked really great. But in order to tie it in, we're going to instead use some of the little black butterflies, because I have quite a few of those. So we're going to cut this baby loose. Yes, I'm going to cut it loose because I don't want to play with it all that much. So make sure we got the right cut. Now it's off of there. And now we have to cut it loose here. Ouch. Put the miracle bead aside since we can't find its mate anywhere, which is really strange because Jesse James Beads usually has mates to just about all of their items. I suspect I probably used it in something else, or I dropped it. I'm real good at dropping things, so it's quite possible that it's the I dropped it part. So let's get these going over again. We'll put the cage bead back on. Nope, we don't want that spot. Make sure you don't have one of the breaking spots because they do have where they're folded up. So we'll get this baby on, put the yellow one back on. The little bead. Come on, where's your top? There. Of course, I just saw it and it flips. Bing. And now we'll put the little butterfly on. I think I liked the little blue one better, but this isn't bad. As you're wire wrapping this, you're going to have to move the little butterfly out of your way because he's got the little wing tips that hold up. So, and you'll have to be careful also when you cut the extra wire off. Which I think is going to be right here. This baby's ready to go back on here. We'll put the other one together and then we'll put them up both together, both on. We're bending a little bit here. Gotta fix that. Okay. I think we're about done anyway. Let's see here. Alrighty, now we just have to put them together, put them on in there. We're done with our. And now let's put these back together. This one still has the little jump ring, the oval jump ring in it, so I just need to find it and open it back up. You don't want to open these too many times because it weakens them. But this one have had to have been opened no matter what, because it either has to come off or it has to open for the new piece. Okay, this one is now finished. Now I did like the blue bead better, but the little black butterfly does tear it, bring it down to the bottom and ties it together. Now for the other side, jump ring open, hook it to the little component. Now we have to hold this up so that we can get it in the middle between the other two small jump rings. If we don't get it in the middle, it's not going to want to be in the center of your dangle. And there we go. Our earrings are done. Hope you like those. And I will get you turned around here. Well, here's another look at the earring. Hope you had fun making those special components and using the 3D jig and the wire mandrels. And I think these turned out really pretty. I hope you do too. Bye.